I'm Kase Ellers, and I'm a realtor working in Orlando, Florida for Mainframe Real Estate. I've been in the business close to 11 years now. I started when I was about 16, and I have just a really diverse group of people that I work for. Really demanding clients, people have very high expectations of me, and I work with some of the most unique homes in Central Florida. So there might be a day where I'm just doing a typical open house, and another day I might be staging a historic fire home for sale. You never ever know. I've actually just listed a brand new home, gorgeous, in an area called Winter Park, which we lovingly call the Winter Hamptons because a lot of people from up north will come down here. It's a beautiful, beautiful area with a really high price point. I've invited my friend Paul to come over, check out my new listing, and hopefully give me some advice on some staging tips. I love Paul, we've worked together in the past, and he's very traditional in terms of his sense of style, whereas I'm a little bit more casual, and I think the two of us could come up with a really great concept for this space that buyers will love. Thank you for coming. Nice to see you.
How are you?
I'm good. So this is a brand new construction home here in Winter Park. It's a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, and just over 3,000 square feet.
Okay.
And I'm definitely very excited to show you the inside because it has an awesome use of space.
Great.
But I'm running into some design challenges with this home. This section of Winter Park has some properties that are just around 800,000 all the way up to 1.3 million.
Right.
But there's also some new construction and the area is being revitalized.
Got it.
So this is not the typical home that the average Winter Park buyer would purchase. So I wanted to pop to excite them to get them to make an offer.
I can see that.
But I was almost thinking about repainting the front door. So from the outside, it just was like, bam.
No, whatever you do, don't paint the front door. That door actually is the transition between modern and traditional, just by it, because it's a sort of a mid-century door, and the color is perfect. It matches everything else. I would just use pots, glazed pots, substantial ones that you can fill with color, probably red or yellow, that will make the house really pop. You can flank the door on both sides, but I would use the space of that around the pillars and the columns just to give it really some curb appeal and some personality. Don't touch the color, just do a minimal amount of accessories and this house will be stunning.
Perfect. Well, let's go on the inside and let's check out the space.
Yep.
And go from there.
Wow.
I know, it's fantastic.
So spacious.
It's light, it's bright, you have high volume ceilings, but you could see this could be a little bit of a challenge because a lot of people are not going to see the vision that we have of what you could do here.
However, when you walk in, the first thing you see is this great space. I mean, not only you have the space over there, but this right here can be the impact. Great piece of art. You can have the recessed lighting and then a credenza. It could be so great, just some accessories, and it kind of sets the mood with what the house will be all about. I really like it.
I do too.
Let's look at the rest of the house.
Yeah, this way.
So this is the great room?
It's a very great room. So you have the higher baseboards, you have this beautiful gray oak floors.
Nice.
But you could see that this is such a big space because it transitions right into the kitchen, a really large dining room. There's so many ways in my head that I could see this room being used.
Right.
So I'm just trying to think, what is the best way that we could position the furniture for, someone who's seeing it for staging purposes, but also I need to think a little bit more of how the end user would use this space.
Well, first of all, on any home these days, this is the most important room. It actually brings the whole family together and you can entertain, and then with the kitchen and the dining room all so close together, the configuration of the furniture in here can go so many ways that would benefit the end user. Staging perhaps would be using larger pieces of furniture to show exactly how much space you can take up and still look like there's a lot of area to use. It needs to look completely modern with even traditional pieces, but all modern setup.
And to kind of tie into that, let's go into the kitchen, and I want to kind of show you some of the design aesthetics that the builder chose that I want to tie into the design of the staging.
Got it, sounds good.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
I love this kitchen.
I can see why.
The builder just pulled in a lot of great design elements from the shaker cabinets with the more modern long pulls. The brown marble subway tile is just a fantastic touch. However, it's just not the typical Winter Park Carrera marble white kitchen.
No, it's not, thank God.
And even like the industrial elements like the pendants with the Edison bulbs, I just want to make sure that we have a cohesive design.
Well, I'm thinking that when you work in from the living room and there's color in the living room and transition right into the kitchen really speaks for itself. So less is more, again, in this area where in the living room we were talking about pops of color and making someone feel like they could live there. Here we need to make it look clean and keep some of it dark. Generally, the kitchen totally is, it stands alone. It's its own piece of art.
And I think you kind of inspired me a little bit too. Like, I'm wondering if maybe some of, for example, in the dining room, we do more of a restoration hardware look to pull in some of those warmer tones that this kitchen has.
Well, I definitely think that that's the way we're on trend right now, and I think people will walk into it and buy into all of that sort of looks. The styling needs to be simple and yet needs to be believable. So let's go look at the dining room and see how we can make that work.
Yeah, let's check it out.
You got it.
So this is our dining room, and just like the great room, this is a really big space for an open concept central living home.
Well, it's perfect for the house. I do agree. As soon as I walked into it, I kind of fell in love with it for personal reasons, because I love a round table. So I think a round table would be perfect here because it's the best for the family can actually see each other. There's no one segmented off to sides, and the dinner party, everyone can actually have a conversation. Furniture can still be on both sides. Big pieces of art, mirrors can be in here. I think it would be beautiful, and it could be completely purposeful for the family.
I just kind of was envisioning maybe more of a long rectangular restoration hardware table, that rustic, not just something that went with the industrial look of the light fixtures.
Agreed, but we're not here for your vision, you're here for my expertise. So I think a round table or possibly a rectangle table. We'd have to see.
Did you play a lot of poker growing up, that you had like the family, like drinking coffee? And
well, we drank, but not necessarily coffee. At the end of the day, I would like to see the design options, but I love the fact that it has options, and guess what? When somebody wants to come in and buy it, you can also say this room is also large enough for a round table that seats 8 to 10.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll have to see how it ends up being staged at the whatever we have available to us, but right. I think both are great options and a great use of the space.
Absolutely.
So let's check out the master bedroom, because that's the last room I really need to pop.
Let's do it.
So let's do it.
Got it. Let's go upstairs.
So the master suite has an incredible amount of light. We have built-in closets in the master walk-in closet, right. A really great soaking tub. This room isn't the biggest of masters, but it is very versatile.
Well, for me, I look at the room, it has 3 dominant walls. 2 of them are made for the bed. You can either do the one back here, the more traditional, or you could possibly use this wall as well, and depending on where you really want to look, both would work. However, for impact for someone who's staging a house, I think when people come off the landing of the stair and look into the master, I think a beautifully bed set up in this direction going out with the lamps on both sides possibly and tables will be the most impactful. I mean, even though we have tons of room for furniture on every other wall and TV can be mounted to the wall, let's just do it so people can get the most for their eye quick.
Well, see, I know you're a traditionalist, and so I will admit that I agree with you this one time that we probably should set up the room this way, but I kind of am gravitating towards putting the bed over there, and the reason being is because when you have such great light, and when the doors open to the bathroom, it kind of feels like an extension of the suite.
Let's agree to disagree and do it my way.
We'll just have to see.
We will.
Well, I definitely appreciate you coming, and I think we work really well together, but I have Nina Mock coming in with Megan Morris Home Staging.
Oh, you have good hands.
Yeah, very good hands to help my team kind of position all the furniture. We're gonna pick out some colors. Good. So the next time you come back, we will see if we have a round table or not.
I always get my way.
I'll see you later, Paul.
Thanks, Kase.
Thank you. So it means so much to me that Paul took time out of his busy schedule to come and give his perspective on this house, because I really feel, I mean, we've worked together in the past. We are a really good team, even though we're slightly competitive. But I think in cases like this, you ultimately end up getting better results for your client. The staging went a little bit rockier than I would have expected. You know, here's the thing. When you're staging a vacant home and you're working with any stager, no matter who it is, they only have a very small selection of furniture and products that you could choose from. And I constantly have to remind myself that I'm not, you know, picking out whatever I want to put in this property. When I list a property and I'm working with the seller, I do paint my vision in my mind, and I want to always be as close to that as possible because I think that's what helps my listing sell. So there were actually a few pieces that I had to have the stagers come back and switch out, but I think they were really great. They came here. I even brought some pieces from my personal home, and ultimately I think it came out fantastic.
Hey Kase, how are you?
Good.
Hey, so the front yard looks amazing.
Thank you. Well, we took your suggestion,
Great.
and I went to Home Depot and I got these pots by Terra Verde, and they're self-watering, so it's great because they're really low maintenance, perfect for a house that's on the market. We did some Vinca as well as the Croton, which just adds that bright pop of color, and they're hardy, so they could be in the sun with no problem.
It looks great. So that looks good, but when I noticed when I walked in, this looks amazing.
I know, isn't it?
I know, it's kind of cool.
It's light, it's bright, and I'm really excited to show you everything that we picked out.
I can't wait. So let's do it.
Okay.
So this turned out amazing.
I love this room. It is probably my favorite room in the whole house.
I can see why. I'm so happy that you did the double sofas. I think when people walk in, they're gonna be able to say, my furniture will fit here and I can add so much more. I mean, there's still space here, there's a ton of space over there, and people will be able to buy into it and know that they can put their own furniture into it.
Well, I think the biggest challenge we had when we were talking with the stagers was how do we make this room still feel like, you have the space that you need, but it's not underutilized either. So I think facing the couches this way, so you're facing the kitchen or facing out the window, you still, get that sense of space. And I think the colors, it all came out really, really nicely and makes the house feel clean and upscale.
Very, and a good use of colors too.
Yeah,
it's good.
Well, let's go check out the kitchen. This room probably didn't receive the biggest transformation, but I think it makes a really big statement.
It did. The kitchen, I think, is the most important room in this house. When you look at how we sell homes, one of the first things we give home sellers is advice is to clear off their counters.
Right.
And I think in this case, these counters need to be cleared and not cluttered. I think when we look at like the pears in the corner with the color, it just brings people into here and they can really spend some time looking at the build outs and the finishes versus the Hazarai on the counter.
I totally agree, and even something I did, so the stagers brought in the pears and the trees, and what I wanted to do was actually I bought a yellow orchid, which I put in the living room, which I thought it kind of takes your eyes and kind of completes the look of the room, and then some of the golds that are in the dining room.
I could totally get it. It looks great.
I'm not sure how you're going to approve of the next room though.
Who knows, to be honest.
We'll see.
Let's do it. Well, it works. It does work. I was cautiously optimistic when I heard that you did it, but I'm glad that you did in the end. I think the rectangle that even can be expanded out for another 4 seats would be perfect for a house this size, and it was really well executed, so congratulations on that.
I definitely appreciate what you were saying about the round table because I do feel like you could fit more people into the space and it would give it almost a more intimate feel. But when we were working with the designers, I really felt strongly about the longer table because this is such a big room. And I thought it also complemented some of the shapes of like the island as well as the couches. And
the nice thing is that anybody who comes in can use either round or rectangle and be very, very happy. But I think this was executed really well.
But I do have a surprise for you.
What's that?
Upstairs in the master bedroom.
Like I've never heard that line before.
Did you think you'd ever be surprised walking into a bedroom like this?
Well, yeah, no, yes, maybe, kind of. I got my way, that's all I care about. But the bed looks good here. I think it looks good here. However, going back to living room options, dining room options, this house has options.
Lots of options.
Lots of them. So, but just for showing, people come in and they can see the size of the bed, the depth of the room, and they're not cut off a little short. It just gives them the feeling that they're buying a bigger space.
Well, and I totally agree with you. And I think conceptually when I first was talking about moving the bed to this other wall, was just because it's just not typical. I always kind of like to spice things up from the traditional look. But part of what we did was, to kind of keep to that airy feeling as we did put the mirror on the opposing wall, so you still have that sense of space.
Well, it's light, it's air, it's good, it's space, it's depth. I think when you walk in, I think it's good for a buyer to just see how big the room is. So good call on that on my part.
You have good ideas sometimes.
You can take your win when you can get it.
So I just wanted to say thank you for including me. I thought it was a great experience. I've always loved working with you. I mean, we've done a lot together over the years.
Yes.
Not many years, but enough. The one thing I really think that's most important is that we have opposite opinions about things and we can still come together and come up with a common selling point. It's kind of hard to step back and not be Paul Richards or Kase Ellers, but we have to be buyer or seller representatives. And when you're selling a brand new construction and it's this size, it really is a meeting of the minds. So we met our minds. We did a good job.
No, I absolutely agree with you.
And I think you'll do great selling this.
Thank you. Bring me a buyer.
I will.
I am so happy with the results of this staging, and it's just kind of confirmed in my mind that Paul and I are just such a good team together that I really hope in the future we get to work on more projects. The house went live on the MLS today. We're planning a huge event for all of the neighbors to stop by to check it out, as well as for brokers in the area. So I'm pretty certain that we're gonna get a full price offer pretty quickly. And I might have to give Paul some of the commission, but it's okay, he deserves it.